Hello, On the Daily family. In this episode, I am actually joined by two of my friends and clients. I call them my friends now because they've literally slept in my house. We have Marcy and Olivia on the show today, and they were both at my Expand VIP weekend back in, I don't even know when that was, end of July. And I'm gearing up for another one. And both of these humans have just been on this like insane trajectory over the last 6 weeks since leaving that weekend. And everything that they've accomplished, everything that they are accomplishing, all the wheels that they've put into motion, it's actually mind-blowing. And I was just telling them before I hit record that I watch their Instagrams every time and be like, so wait, what is happening now? And so I'm so excited for you to hear from them today. And if you are thinking about coming to my weekend, if you are feeling like you're on the verge of a level up and all you need is something to like kick start your ass into gear, this is for sure the episode for you. So keep on listening. Hey friend, welcome to On the Daily. I'm your host, Danielle McCleary, and I am a quantum business coach. I'm the host of this podcast. I'm a multi-six-figure entrepreneur, co-founder and president of Hype You Media, and CEO of Danielle on the Daily Coaching. What I'm really interested in is helping you live a life and have a business that is a full body yes. So through all of my education and all of my experience, I'm bringing you 2 episodes a week where I will guide you and give you the tools necessary to scale a massive, sustainable, and sexy business using your intuition, wealth energetics, and human design. What we can call it is business biohacking. So if you're down for that, then I say let's frickin' go. I'm so glad you're here. So we all know that social media is the best place to market our business. But is anyone else exhausted by all the rules around how to show up perfectly? Okay. So if you are a content creator and you're part of, if you're an influencer, a content creator, etc., then my friend Harley Jordan is your go-to coach for breaking down the rules and crafting an aligned personal brand on social media. She has an 8-week live coaching program called the Do Less Club, and it's going to take you through the actionable steps to build a more natural money-making business on Instagram. This, again, is very specific to content creators. So if you are in the business of creating content for brands, you're trying to negotiate brand contracts, etc., then this is the place for you. You can head to my show notes for more information and use the code HYPE for 10% off of the Do Less Club. We got Marcy and Olivia. Hi, girls.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I'm so happy you both are here. I was saying before we recorded, it's so good to see your faces. And I just want to put my arms around your necks because I haven't seen you in 6 weeks. I mean, I see Olivia because she's in my mastermind, but I want to hug you again. So it's so good to see your faces, just the 3 of us.
Yeah, it's super good. It's crazy to think that it's been, in a way, it feels like time has gone by really fast, but in a way it's also like, whoa, whole new world since we left. So I'm excited to reconnect and let other people listen in on that reconnection.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like a whole month, but so much has happened. I guess a month and a half. So much has happened. I know in both of our lives because I keep up with Marcy too. And we've even talked about getting together because we can meet halfway. And there's just so much that's happened since then.
Yeah. And we're going to literally talk about all of it because I'm mesmerized and I feel like there's even things that you guys are up to that I don't necessarily know about. And so I'm excited to hear everything. But I first just want to say, so the Expand VIP weekend, the reason, and I think I told you guys this, but just in case you're listening, it is a VIP weekend that I kind of created at my house. And it was really for selfish reasons because I do a lot of work online and a lot of everything I do is via Zoom or Slack or YouTube or podcast. And what I really hadn't had in a while is just true, deep in-person connection. And I'm not talking about a conference where there's 1,000 people all around. Or even a big retreat. What I was really craving was just an intimate weekend experience where I could spoil the shit out of a couple people and just like really welcome people into my home with my family, like hang out with me and Breeze and my dogs, even though Marcy was allergic to them, and like do really fun things, but also get like really close, intimate time with people and really just like be a support system in whatever way I could for whatever you were working through in your businesses. And so when this like came to be and I put it out, you both responded very quickly. And it just ended up being like this perfect kismet weekend. I could talk all day about what it meant to me, but just seeing you guys connect, but also seeing all of us connect and the things we were doing, like the meals we were having, and even just like holding space for one another when we're going through like really hard, like life shit. We're all moms and like going through helping each other, women helping women is something that I just think is so powerful. And to be able to do it in such a close proximity was so, so special. I learned a lot about me as a leader. I learned a lot about what it truly means to be a leader. And it's also just been a really, really awesome thing to see everything you've accomplished since then. So that weekend is coming back up, and I'm doing it again in October, and we have a couple spots left. And so what I would love to hear, and we can start with Marcy. We'll start with Marcy. I would love to just hear like, what made you like, what was it that you, because I know you told us this at that weekend, but like, what was it that made you go, I'm doing this? Like, what was the decision-making process? Because for a lot of people being like, oh, I'm going to spend $5,000 on a weekend, like people will go, that is insane. And it is insane. I mean, once you've done it, you realize it's not that insane, but leading up to it, it is insane. And so what's that decision-making process? And what was that like for you? And what was it that made you go like, yes, this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, so I'm an emotional manifester. So I very much so appreciated the information and the process, that it wasn't just like, here, I'm dropping this, you have to decide right in this moment, right? There was like, express your interest, we'll be in touch. And so I think that did very well for the emotional type, because I could really feel into what was it the right timing? Did it feel good? But also to have an idea of like how I normally make these decisions is the first number that comes into my head of what would that be worth to me? If it is that number or lower, I push go. And so I've done this with things in the past where I'm like, okay, if the investment is this amount or lower, I'm in. And almost always I'm spot on. Almost always the number I have in my head is the number it ends up being. So I was fully prepared, and no surprise. It was exactly the same way. So that when I got that information, when I got the email that said like, hey, you're up in the wait list, it was a no-brainer for me, because I had already spent a few days like feeling into it. And I knew that I was coming out of a rest cycle. I was like in this transition. I knew what I was creating next. As a manifester, I had the creative urge. I just felt like I was in this transitionary space. Honestly, like my life at home was a little on the rocky side. And by little on the rocky side, I mean rockier than it's ever been in my entire life.
Also the like perfect timing.
Right. And in retrospect, I really look at like, and I trusted that all the way through. And that's something with some of these bigger decisions. I'm not shy to invest. Like I was thinking about it. Like the last time I spent that much money on like a retreat, I was in Indonesia for 2 weeks, and that was 2 weeks, but it was life-changing. And so I would do it all over again. But yeah, I'm not shy anymore to spend money. I truly believe that I say this all the time, to invest in yourself is to believe in yourself. And I know exactly where I'm going, and I know what I'm capable of. And, I don't hesitate to spend if it feels right, Right. And so there was a moment where I thought that maybe I wouldn't go, or I could. I really did at one moment feel like I couldn't go because of what was happening at home and what I was going to be leaving. But I also, through that whole process, like trusted that it was all perfect, that I was all playing out exactly how it needed to, and in retrospect, we'll talk more about it. But like in retrospect, that's exactly what happened. Everything that blew up and needed to blow up so that other things could move forward, and it ended up being really beautiful. But yeah, I think just for me, it's really honoring that emotional that emotional authority and having the time and space and creating that time and space to really feel into it. And it was, by the time it was on, it was on the table, it was a no-brainer for me.
It's so interesting that you say like you had time to feel into it, because then I started thinking about how like Black Friday's coming up, and Black Friday for an emotional authority must be the most like anxiety ridden, or you just ignore it completely. Like you just don't even participate, because I'm a gut person. So I'm like, oh, this feels good, I'ma buy it. And sometimes that feels good. And then other times I'm like, shouldn't have done that. All right, moving on. But I can imagine for an emotional authority, you'd be like, fuck.
I also worked for Apple for 14 years.
Oh my God. Yeah. You were in
it. So I want nothing to do with Black Friday in any way, shape, or form. I don't want it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it is really cool too. And like just hearing your reflection on that is really cool, because from my end, I think I told you this, like we like missed you on accident or something happened. You emailed, we didn't get it.
I missed the email. I missed it. And then after the 24 hours, I was like, wait, I'm so in, but I'm terrible with email. And so I think the next person had said, so before you went to the next person.
It just like all worked out. Yeah. And like from my perspective, like when I saw that it was you, cause like I have to like approve everyone, and like, if somebody's insane, I'm like, no. No. Or if it's like, John from Biloxi, Mississippi, who I don't know, I'm like, no. But like I knew you obviously, and I saw your name come through, and I was like, yee, this is gonna be fun. When a manifestor and an MG and a generator walk into a bar, what happens? Like we're gonna find out. Like it's gonna be great. So it's so fun to hear your perspective of that, because obviously I had my own experience when you said yes. So thank you for sharing that. Olivia, it was a little different for you because you were the first one on my wait list and the first yes. And there was a moment you were like, I don't even know how I'm going to make this happen, but I'm gonna. And I want to hear like what was going through your head, because this was the biggest investment you'd ever made.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the biggest investment I'd ever made. And I'm not scared to invest. But anytime you're making an investment that is going to stretch you, that's scary. It's, you don't want to commit to something that you can't move forward with for whatever reason. I was in a lot of momentum in my business. And that weekend that you hosted the retreat was a pretty pivotal weekend in my business. And so it felt like it was the perfect time. And also maybe not, but also it definitely was, like, couldn't have been more perfect. And I made the decision on a plane. You'd been teasing about having some kind of an in-person retreat. And anytime I hear in person and I get to get on a plane and go somewhere, I'm like, I'm in, let's do this.
Yeah.
So
Same.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we're going. Do I need shoes? I don't care. I'm going.
Like if I want to be there, I will always make it happen.
Yeah.
And I used to be a flight attendant, so that's just kind of my jam. And I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm sure that plays a part in there too. I like to do all the things. So yeah, you teased about it. I knew I wanted to be there. I saw that it was for 2 people, and I don't think I knew the price yet. But when I saw it was going to be for 2 people, I'm like, this isn't going to be hundreds of dollars. This is going to be thousands of dollars. So I knew that, and I kind of, like Marcy said, I had a number in my mind. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it would be more, and I didn't think it would be less. And it's not that I told myself that like I wouldn't go if it was any more. I probably was telling myself if it did cost any more than this, then like more than likely, although I'm the type of person that's like, how can I afford this? More than likely any more than $5,000. I don't know that I would have, but that was the perfect amount to stretch me. And now that I did it, and I think I told you this at your house, like I needed the opportunity to release that amount of money into myself, investing in myself, investing in something. I knew when you sent out the email explaining everything it entailed, and your last line always speaks to my soul, which is that like, if you're feeling the pull, jump. And I'm like, I'm feeling the pull. So I jumped, and it worked out exactly how it was supposed to. And now I am like, I can invest in anything. Like I can make Because what's $5,000? I mean, $5,000 is just half of 10,000, is just a tenth of
Mm-hmm.
what, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's really just like, if you can invest that amount of money in yourself, then why can't you invest more?
Mm-hmm.
And why can't you grow to a point of calling in so much more?
Yeah. You know what? It's so funny that you say that because it is true. Like when you have, like, it's always going to feel big until you do it. And then the next time that something comes up, you're going to be like, oh, okay, like I can do that. And then, but like every new level is going to require a new version of you. Right. And it reminded me, I got an email from my tax accountant this week because it's Q3 tax season. And she like sent me this email over and she goes, your tax bill is this much. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. Okay. Like it didn't like shock me. And then immediately after that, I got an email from her going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I added an extra zero. It's not that much. It's this much. And I was like, well, great. That's even better. Perfect. Because like, yeah, there was a moment where she sent that first email and I was like, ma'am, like for 1/4 of taxes, like, ma'am. And she's like, no, take away a zero. And I was like, well, that is a very different number. Okay. But like, it didn't send me into shock. And I was like, well, that's because like I make multi 5-figure investments a lot. Like I do that a lot. So like, it really wasn't that big of a deal, but also, yes, I will take that zero off. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. But yeah, thank you for sharing that because I remember you saying, and I remember you were like, you said something about like, I'm going to do this. And as long as I can have until, because basically it's like a $1,500 deposit and then you have until a week before to pay off your balance. You can do that however you want. And I don't care as long as it's paid in full before the week you come. And so I remember you saying like, it will be paid in full. And I was like, I'm good. Like we have the deposit, like your spot is secured, you figure it out. And you ended up like paying it off quicker than you thought you would. And then like, Olivia, I'm going to stay with you. When you left here, you immediately took a new job that you were like excited about, which like increased your income by a lot, like to the point where you like hired a nanny. Like, tell me everything that's happened. Like, tell me like what's happened since.
Literally so much. Yeah. So I was already in momentum in my businesses, and at the time I had 3 streams of income, all that are successful enough to generate, a few grand a month at least. Mm-hmm. And that's really grown a lot this year, in part to working with you and working so closely with support. And then immediately after I left your house, I started partnering with a yoga studio that I'm working with now that I'm so excited about, which has added an entirely new stream of earnings into our life. And so that is kind of my brand. Is I love to coach people on why multiple streams of income is so important and smart, especially in the world we live in now. And so it's adding to my business, it's adding to my income, it's adding to my family. Because of what has added into our family, we hired a nanny. We got a new car. There's just been a lot of
you got a new car. Oh yeah, I forgot. You got a new car, like a nice car. Like you got like an AMG Mercedes. Like we're not talking a hoopty.
Yeah. And it's also not like I just had all this money coming in, so I just went out and spent it all either. Everything has worked out. Like we traded in my Jeep Wrangler that's 6 years old, Mm-hmm. So it's just, everything has worked out exactly how it's supposed to. And what's manifested is a luxury car. And really my intention with going to your house and making that investment and going forth with the weekend and really over this past year has been luxury. Like luxury exists, and therefore I want to experience it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think more people could do well to take that perspective to the word luxury or the idea of luxury. And so when I was at your home, seeing the way you lived and the way you worked your business and just getting that poured into me, what I took away from that was like, yeah, that's how I want to feel. Not because I want to feel like I'm better than anyone. That's not it at all. It's because I want other people to know that luxury is available to them. And when I'm experiencing luxury, when I'm driving around in my brand new car, I feel so like I can accomplish so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just now the standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's who I am. And peace and organization and cleanliness and all the things that come along with that. Because when I walk into my house now, my nanny has folded my laundry and done our dishes, and my daughter has had the most wonderful day ever. It's just this feeling that I can't really describe other than the word luxury. And I love it.
Well, and it's something that you create for yourself, right? I think there's this like misunderstanding about the word luxury. Like I think you're right. People assume it's like a I'm better than you thing. And for me, it like the way I live, the way that like we've set up our home, the way that I set up my business, the way that I like coach people, the way that I am in my relationship, the way I am as a mom, it is luxury, but it's like, that's something for me. And to me, like the most luxurious I can be is the most free. And the most free to do what I want, when I want, to not have to say no because of anything external to myself and my own desires or the desires of my family. And that to me is like the ultimate display of luxury. And so I love that you say like, and that was like the point, because I know whenever I've gone to my mentors' homes or when I've done a retreat with someone, I've been like, this is how they live. Like this is because you don't know it's possible until you see it. And like, I mean, gosh, if you could have seen how I lived 5 years ago, like it's night and day. Like I almost wish there could be like a montage of like how we've been versus like how we all are now. But yeah, I mean, it's been really cool to see you. And we're going to talk about like mindset in a second. I'm going to go to Marcy, but like just to see how much you've changed like in your mindset and like the way that you view luxury, the way that you view investments, the way that you view business, the way that you view leadership. All of it has shifted so much in like such a cool way since you left my house. And I think it's really, really fucking rad. So kudos to you. And your new car is stunning. And it inspired me to go down and put in for my new car. Because I was literally like, I want an AMG with a light up inside. Why didn't I get a light up Mercedes? I want my Mercedes to be pink on the inside. So I went down and I ordered my new AMG, which is now in production. So you inspired me. Marcy, same question. Like since then, I mean, same with Olivia, the things that you've accomplished in the last 6 weeks have been pretty out of this world. And they, like you said, they were already things that you like had on the docket, but the speed, and you're a manifester, but the speed at which you made this shit happen was pretty bananas. So tell us all.
Well, and that's it. Like going back, just to piggyback, like on the investment conversation, that's what happened when you invest in yourself. You collapse the timelines, right? It's not that these things wouldn't have happened, couldn't have happened, weren't already on the docket. It's just I pushed the fast forward button. And so, yeah, there was like full disclosure. Like I was frustrated at one point because here I was going to a business retreat with my business mentor, and there was this huge cloud over my head, or what felt like a cloud over my head, which was something happening in my personal life. And like, I know that everything is connected, but I was like annoyed. I was like, no, like, I don't want to be dealing with like these personal, when I'm here, and of course it was perfect. And of course, I was fully supported and that space was held for me, but it also really highlighted something major for me, which was something that I've known for a long time, but I haven't done the work on, which is that there is a very strong correlation between money and intimacy. And so many of my stories and so much of the work that I've done with my limiting beliefs and just stepping into my leadership, I've always kind of avoided the connection, and I've kept it separate, right? I can be really successful in my business and I can do these really great things. But as we know, like if we're not paying attention to the other piece of the puzzle, right, we're just kind of asking for it. So yeah, so kind of.
And I said that to you when you were here, right? I said something about like, you're a really good compartmentalizer, and I see it because I am too. And maybe that's maybe that's where we need to.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it just kind of forced me to like, I couldn't ignore that connection anymore. And literally the night I got home, so flew home on Monday night, everything blew up, like got worse, like everything that I was worried about, everything that I was trying to avoid, everything that yeah, that night it blew up, which then within 48 hours, complete quantum leap. Like everything blew up so that the conversations and the changes and the shifts that needed to happen, because if you guys talking to the listeners, if you invest in this weekend and you do something like this for yourself, the energy that you are going to exit that space in is going to be untouchable. Like nothing is going to, at least for a short period of time, you are going to be in an energy that just like get out of my way. And because
like Ludacris blasting in the background, move, bitch,
yes,
get out the way.
Yes,
like literally
100%. Like there needs to be a reel of us leaving your house with that in the background.
With Oakley walking with you.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But that was massive for me because all of these things were blowing up and I was just chill. I was neutral. This is happening. I wasn't making it mean anything. I was letting it happen, knowing and trusting that it needed to happen. And within 48 hours, y'all, I can't describe the quantum leap that I created in the closest relationship in my life right now. Going from one of the scariest moments I've ever had. Not going to divulge lots of details here, but like scariest moment all the way to like a moment that I've unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's not a bookend. It didn't just end. It's continuing to evolve. And but what I realized, I didn't know how much energy that thing had been taking up in my life until it wasn't taking that energy up anymore. And so within those 48 hours of getting back, everything shifted. And I literally felt myself like step out of my rest cycle and into a creative cycle. And I gave myself permission to just move forward with all the things that were like on the docket that I'd been getting excited about. So some of those things I essentially pivoted completely in my business. I had been working as a VA, and I had been doing a lot of technical things, a lot of things on the background. And I will probably forever have my hand in that because I love that work, but it wasn't serving me as like my main source of income in the way that felt good. And so I had 2 clients who had just ended in the end of July. So it was absolutely perfect. So I was able to just very easily step away from that. And I soft launched my new business with a new company. So I know, many of your listeners are in social selling, direct sales. So pivoting over. And since that time, I have ranked up. I have in 6 weeks made what I used to make probably within 6 to 8 months in my first company. I have stepped up just within the community as a leader. I've already hosted 3 trainings for the platform that I'm a part of. I've started to design my own training platform and getting ready to launch kind of my own platform. Essentially, that's going to be for my teammates and for other network marketers. I launched my podcast, which is we're on season or episode 4 comes out this week. So we are 4 weeks into that.
And it's called Shit Your Upline Says, right?
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good. If you are in the network marketing, the direct sales profession, this podcast is a must. It's like, I always say, like, for a long time, I said, if you are in the network marketing direct sales business, you must follow my friend Colleen Nichols on the No Shame Sales Game. And I will also say now, like, you must listen to Marcy's podcast, Shit Your Upline Says, especially if you are a network marketer who is trying to do things differently than it's been done for 40 years.
Yep. If you feel the ick, if you feel the desperation, if you are like in the system and not creating the results, we're just flipping everything on its head and offering a whole new paradigm. We're talking about personal leadership. We're talking about a different way of doing things. And I get to make fun of myself because I did a lot of the things that, I feel now are icky, and I have a lot of wisdom and experience on the other side of it. So that's been incredible. I feel like there's probably more than that, but that feels like a lot to
personal relationships when it comes to co-parenting, that is enough all in its own. Cause that's a whole thing. I mean, that's a lot of people's lifetime. They spend a lifetime getting good at that. And so the fact that that's had such a big growth, but also launching a podcast is no easy feat. Like, it is a lot more complicated than a lot of people think. It's a lot more complicated than you think it's going to be before you do it. And so the speed at which you did it, how beautiful it is. Like, I love that the cover is from this weekend at my house. I think it's like so cool. And like just building out like automations and funnels and platforms for your new business. Like that is also not for the weak, and it's also not an easy task. And it's, a lot of people want it, but they avoid it. And so kudos to you for really like just doing it and making it happen. Cause in true manifestor form, when you move, we move. So I'm just really excited for both of you. I think everything you're creating is so incredible in such different ways, like it, and also, I think sometimes, and I get asked this a lot, like, Danielle, what makes you different? And I think what makes me different is like, I'm not just here to help you with your business. Like, you want to talk about your friendships, you want to talk about a relationship, you want to talk about like parenting. Like, I'm here for all of it, because I don't believe that everything is compartmentalized. I used to, but everything is connected, and you can't have a 10 over here and then like a 5 over here and expect it to last very long. Like, if things are off, it's eventually going to affect everything you do. And so being able to have you like here, and I could feel it, like when you were at my house, I could feel how frustrated you were that like we had to keep talking about what was happening in your personal life. But I was like, no, but you can't go home and build what you're trying to build. And like, we had a day, like one of the things I offered them was like, for like a couple hours on one of the days, like we did a lot of talks about business, but a lot of times it was like casual over dinner or casual over paddleboarding or casual over like whatever. But this was like, you each got like very dedicated time to really go over what you were working on. And like when Marcy, you and I were working on your stuff, like you already knew what you wanted. I just kind of helped you like map it out in a way that like visually made sense. But like what we spent most of the time talking about was like how you could heal certain areas of like your relationships and like with co-parenting to like make sure that this stuff could have an easy path to success. And that to me, like, that's why I love what I do. And I know that's why you love what you do. And like Olivia, I know that's why you love what you do, because we're all very similar in that. And I think obviously like attracts like, but I loved being able to support you in that way, because more than anything, I understand the power of a positive co-parenting relationship. Like more than anyone, I understand it. And more than anyone, I understand how challenging it can be to make it happen. And so I like congratulate and give you so much like applause for the work that you've done in that area over the last 6 weeks, because it's clear because of how much energy you have in other areas of your life. So yeah, kudos to you. Thank you both for sharing all of that. I love to hear from your perspective how it was. Before I let you go, I would love like, just like what would you say, like there, because there are so many people, and like I love how quickly y'all make decisions, because you are rare. Like those of us who make decisions quickly and can like go with our intuition, it is rare. And obviously all of us in some way teach people how to follow their intuition in one way or another. And so, a lot of people are learning, but if there is like anything you can share about this weekend that like really stood out to you, or that you feel like could really help somebody move the needle from like, do I, to absolutely yes, like what would those things be? And Marcy, I'll start with you.
I think the biggest thing that I can share is the trust that you get to have in yourself, in your intuition, and also in the universal workings, right? The perfection, right? If you're feeling like Olivia mentioned, like if you're feeling that call, even if like it will feel scary. I'm not even gonna say it should feel scary. It is going to feel scary. And if it's not about the money for me, it wasn't about the money for me. It was like being away from my family. It was, am I going to get along? Are people going to let, I had other reasons why, being such a homebody, such an introvert. And so, but none of that mattered because it felt right. And so I think that just trusting the perfect pair, or if there's gonna be more than two, right? The perfect people are going to be there. And if you feel the call, like this is your opportunity and your chance to say yes and to invest in yourself and to trust that whatever it is that gets to be healed that gets to whatever cards get to be played. It might surprise you, but there's no way that this weekend does not change your life. That's it. It's simple. Say it, do it. Just do it right now. Just
like as in the words of Nike, just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you for that. Olivia?
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect to call in more than what you're currently calling in now if you're not investing bigger than you've ever invested. So from that standpoint, there's just that. What you can expect though is to go have an amazing weekend. You'll be completely submerged into the feeling of luxury. Danielle's house is beautiful. Getting to see how she runs her business is, I don't even know the word, invaluable. That's the word I'm looking for. And that was a really big part of it for me. It's the perfect balance of adventure and fun and a luxury experience and moving your business forward and getting to learn how you can really like do things differently or work from a place of more alignment or learn how to automate. That was the biggest takeaway in my business for me, is that I knew I wanted to come home and feel like I could work my business differently, because how I was working my business before wasn't working for me and it wasn't working for my nervous system anymore. And so I finally had the tactical to make that happen, and getting to just share and learn how to run your business better while also sharing who you really are to your core, like getting to have those deep chats alongside the business conversations. That's what's really going to move everything forward and make you feel like you're really set up for success, because it's your business. Everything is connected, like your business and your personal life. So when you can have those conversations and feel really like seen by someone who can also help you move your business forward, it's really like nothing you've ever experienced.
I just think unless you've ever like sat on a couch with like no makeup on in your pajamas, like talking about how to make $1 million, like you're really not doing it. Like unless you've been able to like be able to like cry and like leave the table because of something going on at home and then come back and everybody just be like, do you want some hummus? Like, you know, like there's just, I just think that like you both like nailed something so hard. Like there's this facade through a screen. There's this like, you know, you can't see what's happening in the world around you. Like having you both in my home, like, yeah, my office looks cool as shit. And I don't have furniture yet. Like I'm in a big empty box that like is hollow. And like the only reason it sounds like it's all insulated and there's carpets is because I have a really great mic. But like, it's like to be able to be like, yeah, welcome to my house. We're not done decorating it yet, but like have a seat on my couch and like, let's just talk about everything and like really cut through the bullshit of like talking only about the things that are good. Because if that is all we talk about all the time, then we're not growing. And what I really wanted this weekend to be, and it sounds like it was, thank goodness, is like an opportunity to really cut the bullshit, to be like, you're in my home. Like, Marcy was pumping the whole time she was here. Like I had pumping stuff all over my house and it was beautiful and it was amazing. And like we were able, like there was one night where Marcy went to sleep and like Olivia and I were literally sitting on the couch, like eating, I don't even know what we were eating, but like we had no makeup on and we were just like cuddled under blankets, just like talking. And it's like, there's just something really powerful about that. And it's so cool to hear that echoed back, that like that was, we never even really talked about it while you were here, but it's so cool that that was like the communal understanding. And then like the final question I have for both of you, have you ever since that moment thought about that $5,000?
Not for a second. If anything, I've thought more about the next 5,000 than I'm going to invest. I have not thought twice about it for 1 second.
Yeah, it makes you view your spending differently. And I already knew that, but just on a different scale. It's like when I went to buy my car, you finance your vehicle, right? But also you look at the number differently and you think, I could pay that in 4 installments. You know, like technically I'm not going to, because that's not really the smart smartest decision in my life right now because I'm going to invest my money in other places.
Right.
But technically, based on what I just invested, I could pay that off in cash in a year or two,
Right.
and then you're like, oh, like this is who I am now. I am someone who spends this money and calls in this money, and it's all just an energy.
Right.
Yeah. I also just did the math. And as of today, because I just made a $3,600 commission today, I came into that space having not made much money in 6 months because I hadn't really been working. I've made it back.
Right.
As of today.
Right.
So,
isn't that, and like
6 weeks? Okay.
Isn't that just so crazy? Like I had that moment too when I used to, y'all, we are saying this as 3 people and I can speak for all 3 of us. We had very different mindsets around money a few years ago. Like we have all grown a lot, and I can speak for both of them when I say this because I've known them both for a very long time now, or what feels like a very long time. And I know like when I went, even like now, if I go to buy like a first class flight, that's like, I'm looking up flights to London. It's like $9,000. And I'm like, okay, well, I make that in a day. Like you think about money differently when you are willing to put yourself out there. If you're not willing to stretch yourself, because the discomfort leads to comfort, right? The discomfort of like, oh, that's a lot of money leads to, okay, I did it though. It's like that felt like a lot of money to Olivia. And then a month later, she's at my house and it's like, oh, I did it though. And what's next? And when you do that, universe, God, source, whoever you pray to, whatever feels best for you, like it hears it. That source, that energy hears that hears that choice and goes, oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's play. Let's see where else we can go. And then it's like, get another job, buy another car, get a nanny, start a podcast, triple your income. Like it's just, it really does work that way. And it's like not something you can explain, but it's the closest thing I can call to faith. It's like faith in yourself will always lead to more. Always, 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 always. It can't not. So thank you both for sharing that. Thank you both for coming to my house. Thank you both for just being a part of my life. I just adore you both so much. And I know that I'm going to see you again soon. So it really doesn't, this is not goodbye. Okay. This is not goodbye. We're fine. But any closing thoughts you both have before we sign off for the day?
Just do it, y'all. Let's just do it. I'm so Nike today, but I just think that there's so much power, and we could spend another 3 hours giving you all the reasons why saying yes is the right thing. But if you feel the pull, like I love what you said, the discomfort comes before the comfort. And so if you ever want to be comfortable in that space of investing that amount of money, you can't wait to be comfortable. How you're going to get comfortable is to be uncomfortable, take the action, and then you will get to comfort. It's not just you're not just gonna wake up one day and feel comfortable doing it. So,
right. Like if you've never invested $5,000, you're not gonna. If today it feels uncomfortable, you're not gonna wake up tomorrow and be like,
nope.
I think today feels pretty good. Like until you do it,
the first time will be uncomfortable. So get it out of the way and say yes.
Yeah, especially at like an event that's like fun, and it's not like investing in like taxes.
And the weather will be better in October too.
Oh my God, it's not going to be you're not going to sweat through your dress in October. We're going to have a great time. Olivia, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just ditto to everything Marcy said. I mean, that's really all it is. Just if you're on the fence, just decide. I now identify as someone who is going to release this investment because it will change your life. It's just magic and science. Like it just will. And I can't tell you how it will for you, but you just have to believe that it will.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I'm going to put both of their handles in the show notes. So make sure you go and follow both of them because they're both up to some really cool shit. And if you just want like inspiring content that's going to light your soul on fire, follow both of them. Listen to Shit Your Upline Says, Marcy's new podcast. It's incredible. And I love you both. Thank you for being here.
Love you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.